When I say one of the component fabrics of my life is being resilient, it also comes together with being a rebel. I have never really stuck to the norms of the society. I've just created my own space. I am my own person. So when it came to me choosing which religion I really resonate with, it was absolutely my choice. It's never easy. The society, the family, your peers, they are never happy when you're shaking the status quo. But I think I've been known to shake the status quo. So I'm Dr. Anuradha Khoda. Most of the people around me know me as Anu. I do have a doctorate in information systems, which came through a lot of resilience and facing a lot of challenges. I do pride myself in being a digital transformation coach. And through that, what exactly am I doing? I am either coming up with strategies for organizations like educational institutes. How do I turn them from teaching on the blackboard to being absolutely multimedia-led classes? So my main objective really is to bring transformation in life. I am born in India. My parents were teachers and they both retired as teachers. So that was one thing very clear to me, that I would never be a teacher, because they were disciplinarians, they were very strict. And of course, they never had excess money. Teachers were not well paid then. But it so happened, again, God's hand, that that's the career where I entered. So I do say I became a teacher by accident, but I am a teacher by passion. Once a teacher, always a teacher. I love that profession. Even today, wherever I am, I just say I am a teacher. Going back to childhood, so that's what I was talking about. I am born in India. We came here because that was the first lot of expatriate teachers that the Teachers Service Commission in Kenya went ahead to India to get. My parents were one of them. We were posted in Muranga, so I have got very fond memories of my Kikuyu land. The red soil and the beauty of the place, especially when you go to school and you're the only, being a Muindi, but you used to be called a Mudungo. You're walking up the hill and you fell twice, you slipped and you've dirtied your skirt. It's been red the whole day, you don't care, because it's just beautiful being around everybody. Nobody really cares about your outward experience. You are coming up the hill, walking down the slope, going home, but everybody who is lined up along the roadside, any mama boga, anyone who is repairing the shoes, every single person knows that you are the daughter of the teacher. So it's like the entire township was just my family. And that's how I have grown up. And to date, that's how I feel. Wherever I meet people, I just kind of turn it into a family, because that is my fondest childhood memory. To be a family of unknown people, and yet there is some bond that keeps you together. One of the beauties of being a child who has come away from their country of birth to a different country, to a different continent, and then being raised in a small little township where you really have to find your own bearings. But you know that your parents being teachers, the prime thing they've told you is study, study, and study hard. Because I can tell you that's one thing my dad told me all my life. I may not be a wealthy person, I may not be able to leave you a lot of wealth, but the wealth that I'm going to leave you in between these two ears, and that's my brain, will be yours forever. And that's exactly what I concentrated on. So I did miss out on lots of sports, lots of activities where the kids will just be together and laugh. My best friend was books, and it still is. One of my teachers, that is much later in my life, he did say, you know, you have an insatiable quest for knowledge. And I think it really came from there. Just study, study, and study. So when I came when I joined the school here, that was a secondary school, I had completed standard 6. I was interviewed and I kept on jumping every exam that they gave me at the entrance level, and I was taken to Form 2, which is also grade 10. So I missed out on year 7, 8, 9, and I went straight into grade 10. So it does take a lot of grit for you to fit in, one, the age group, two, the knowledge level. So that's I think my resilience was built right from there. I completed Form 2, I think just about 2 terms. The third term, I was taken to Form 3 because I was able to produce results. So the teachers were also compelled to do so. In Form 3, just soon after my first term, my dad went ahead and registered me as a private candidate for, then it was called GCE O level, and I passed Form 4 while I was still in the first term of Form 3. So what I'm trying to relay here is that I hardly have memories of me being a child. It was really study, 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 keep on going higher and higher and higher. And I think that's exactly what my imprint became. That's exactly what my imprint became, that you should never be stagnant. You should never really be where other people expect you to be. You need to keep on pushing and moving ahead. Later on in my life, I think even my career showed me the same, because I started off not out of my choice, but out of choice of life and life's happenings at that time as a teacher at a kindergarten. Within 3 months, I had moved to a high school. And within, I think, the first year, I had moved from that small little private school to one of the well-known international schools in Kenya. And I stayed there for 5 years, enjoyed. My best memory of my career ever have been in that school. And within 5 years, I had done all the best I could. And I knew that now the ceiling has reached. I cannot really go beyond that. I resigned so that I could now go and study ahead. So it's, for me, I think that's exactly what the meaning of life is. Never be stationary, never be stagnant. Just keep on growing and growing. At the same time, never forget your humble beginnings. Again, there is something that molds you in your life, some experiences. Could be your parents, could be your family, could be your surroundings. And I think the first experience of my spirituality really came from my parents. They were not just religious, but they were spiritual. And for me, when I talk about spirituality, it is there are different contexts in which people talk about being spiritual. One could be your connection with the higher self. The other, I think, also comes from within you. What are your core values? Who are you? Do you connect with your roots? For me, even that is spirituality. Are you grounded enough? And how well should your connection be with the higher self? So that's exactly what I can say. You can practice any religion, but spirituality and religion are really two very different things. So I don't even remember that there was a sudden striking turning point. It was within the growth of me as a person in my life that one phase was ending and the other phase was starting. I was introduced to Christianity, and remember when I say that I was brought from India to this country, and the main religion that was being practiced in this country and is still there is Christianity. So even as a child, as a student, CRE, Christian Religious Education, was one of the subjects I studied. So I did read the Bible then. But I can tell you, as a student, I read the Bible as a book. But later on, when it was introduced to me as the Word of God, the rhema that comes from there is very different than when you're reading the Bible in a school or not having known the beauty of being a Christian. You can't really say today is when I end being belonging to a specific religion and now I take over. to the other. It's just a beautiful transition. It just comes. It takes you some time to realize, to try and get your bearings and say, is this where I belong? Is this where it's giving you more contentment? Is this exactly what you have been seeking? Because you don't know. When you're seeking God, you really don't know who is this God that you're seeking. And yet you know that you do go to the religious places, you do go to the temples and the churches. But when you have that seeking in you and you suddenly feel, I'm fulfilled. I actually feel that I now belong to the higher self, and the higher self is very close to me. That's when the transition happens. So there is no day that marks it. It's just a phase, and it's a beautiful, mild transition that happens. So I do have absolute, not just faith, but blind faith in God, and then my resilience. I always do ask God to lead me, and I do say whatever I'm to do, it has to be with His will. And it doesn't mean I just sit and wait that He is going to do His will. And that's what I really have. That's the kind of message I pass to whomever I speak to. Could be my trainees, could be my mentees, could be my family and friends. That yes, there is always a need. You're communicating with the higher self. When you have asked, act on it. I'm a very solutions-oriented person. So whenever I feel I have an obstacle that I'm facing, or any challenge, or just a different phase and stage in life, I will always try and find a solution. I will ask God to handhold me, but I'll not just sit and wait for the solution to come. So I am born to a Hindu family, practiced the Hindu religion for around 30 years or so, and God chose me. It was a very tough time in my life at that time, and God chose me, showed me the way. I had been seeking God. I had been seeking God for the whole of my life, but I didn't know which God and how really I'll find Him. And through life's journey, through life's challenges, finally we met. And from the time He held my hand, and that's why I love that song which says, you hold me up. The journey of life has been beautiful. You love to enjoy it. You love to really go through every step because you know you have the support of the spiritual being. When I say one of the component fabrics of my life is being resilient, it also comes together with being a rebel. I have never really stuck to the norms of the society. I've just created my own space. I am my own person. So when it came to me choosing which religion I really resonate with, it was absolutely my choice. It's never easy. The society, the family, your peers, they are never happy when you're shaking the status quo. But I think I've been known to shake the status quo. I've been doing it all my life without stepping on anyone's toes. But the final outcome is everyone is happy. So yes, there was a lot of friction. Not friction, but I can say it took time for people to really accept it. But the beauty is, as I was growing up in this new religion, the newfound beauty of this spirituality, my faith was actually showing fruits all around me. So if I say that I am convinced that this would happen, and I'm convinced that this step should be taken, although everybody around me did not really know why, but when the final result came, they would say, oh, so this is what faith means, and this is what blind faith means. So that's how I transitioned away from friction and all, where people accepted the direction I was taking. It doesn't mean everybody followed me, but I can say that I finally got respect with my spirituality and with my religion and with my connection with God. So I can tell you that, again, the space I am in now, I have developed a program which is called You Achieve. So basically it is a transformation that you are going to achieve by allowing me to handhold you. So what is the kind of message I'm passing on to people? My main objective today is, if you feel that you are in that state where You really want to shake up the status quo in terms of your professional life, your career, but you don't know how to because you are going to work, you're waiting for that check because you know you do have your wants and needs at the end of the month. Because of that, you are not able to shake up your present state. Talk to me. Because I have got tools that through my experience, through my life experiences, I will take you through. And I will ask you, what gives you fulfillment? Can we try and discover your life purpose? Can we try and discover your life's mission? Once we clarify, once we meet together and we clarify that, then we come up with a roadmap. And at that time, when we are meeting up and we are discussing the roadmap, it starts giving you confidence to take the steps to move towards your goalpost. Because I believe, one, yes, we always need to have a strategy. But for you to go from one goal to the other, you really have to apply brakes to the car. Else you'll be just driving in the same direction. You'll be moving away, very far away from your main goalpost, not realizing that I'm actually in the wrong direction. So you have to apply brakes, you have to stop there. Be certain about yourself. I am here to handhold only the ones who are ready for the transformation. If you know you have really been this status quo, especially career-wise, and you really want to see a change, once you feel you have the yearning to change, then we can really make it happen. And that's exactly the message that I'm passing. Please stop. Be very mindful of what you're doing. Don't just keep on. It was my prayer a few years back to God. Whenever I would see the cars like a parking lot on the underpass where I reside, I would say, God, I don't want to belong to this rat race. What am I doing? Waking up every morning, going to my place of employment, not feeling fulfilled, and coming back home again not being fulfilled. The only thing I have is a few coins, which don't remain with me anyway. Because since I know that there is a specific income that's coming at the end of the month, I already have areas where I'm going to spend it. So get me out of this rat race. The realization needs to come from within you. Means are always there. Believe in yourself. There are mentors and coaches like myself always there. Look for them. Let them handhold you. Let them use their tools. And you'll be able to go from the point where you are to much higher, because that's exactly where you belong. You do not, none of us belong where we found ourselves. We really need to know how to shake ourselves out of the situation and go much higher, because that's where God wants us. He wants the best out of us. Have confidence in yourself. Because if you don't have confidence in yourself, no external power can come and make the change for you. Number 2, blind faith. You need to be spiritual. You need to definitely belong to a higher power. You can give it any name. It really depends on your surroundings, the way you've been brought up. The name depends on the religious leaders and your family. But your understanding of the connection that you have with a higher power, that's what counts. Once you have blind faith in your higher power, you know there's somebody leading you. Build your confidence and say, I can do it because I have a very strong wall behind me. Once you have those two, then I don't think you really need to think what will happen at the end of the month, because you have given your fears to the spiritual power anyway. When God knows that He is in control and that you do believe in Him, then He is not really going to make you cry. Challenges will come, for sure they will. If you're going to, for example, leave your cushy job, which has given you the same tea and mandazi every break time, and you know that lunch is provided by maybe the employer, then you may not want to really shake it up. But I think you really need to see what happens. Like in my case, I lost a very nice teaching job in the middle of the month when my employer said, actually, we are closing the school. We've run out of funds. So at that time, what do? If you don't prepare yourself for that, then life is not worth living. And if I am quoting it correctly, Mahatma Gandhi was one of them who said, live your life as today is the last day. Start preparing yourself. Always be ready for any change that is coming your way. So remember, not everybody is alike. There are some people who say, I am very happy with what I have, may not be happy, but are fearful of any change. There are others who say, I don't belong here. I really need to change. For the ones who say that, they've transitioned to the next level. They know they want to make the change. So one is acknowledgement, like you rightfully said, that you need to acknowledge that you need this change. You need to have faith in the higher self. You need to have your confidence that I'll be able to change and I'll be able to go to the next level. After that, they're just tools. The tool could be a mentor, the tool could be a coach, the tool could be some digital transformation, the tool could be a psychologist. Once you are at that stage to say, I am ready for a change, then life is just beautiful, because you are definitely going to see much better life after that. And I believe it just didn't start today that I am able to call myself a transformation-led strategist. It really started from day one of my life that I can remember, because I always need a roadmap. I always plan ahead. I do plan absolutely by God's will, but then I act on it. I have a roadmap, and then I say, what's my goalpost? And that's exactly what my book is all about. What is your goalpost? Once you know your goalpost, means now you know what your passion is, how to then engage the why or the purpose into it, and how to reach it. Currently, I'm known for my passion and involvement and expertise in IT, in the field of IT. But where did it really begin? I took my first degree. As per each one of us does, we take our first degree because our parents want us to read, to study, to learn something. And that was in basic sciences. It did not really give me a lot of fulfillment. I have been of an engineering mind. So I love technical things. I love to know what's behind the face of a gadget. It so happened that my role model, that's my mom, who is now 81. She once asked me a few years back that they don't live here. They moved away from Kenya to Hong Kong. And the time I used to call them, it would cost me almost, you can say in today's terms, probably about 12 to 15 US dollars a minute. And she asked me, so why don't you send me an email? And my naive question was, so Mom, what's email? And that's how it began. So when I was coming back home from there, I bought parts to come and assemble my own computer. From there on, learned the then IT language, the computer language, which was really prompts. Today it is the WIMP, meaning yes, you can click and the machine does it for you. And I don't even think that's where we are. Today we speak to the machine and it does everything for us, and that is AI. But that's where the humble beginnings were. So I started learning how to put the parts together to come up with my own machine, with my own computer, and then got connected. And that time, email did not really mean you have a mobile phone. There were no mobile phones. Yes, I'm not 100 years old, but there was a time in my life that we still did not have a mobile phone. Email meant you dial in and you wait for the connection, and that's when you can write, you send and receive at the same time. But it brought my phone bill down, and it gave me a lot of impetus to say, now I am in the IT world, let me try and learn more. I was a teacher by then, a teacher of sciences. It was a high school level that I was teaching at. And that's when I started learning IT on my own. It did so happen that in, I think, about 3 to 5 years of having gone through that, learning things on my own, I went and took a degree in information systems. That was my master's degree. Beyond that, then I carried on, and last year I graduated with doctorate in information systems. So I am really known for bringing transformation digitally. Could be in an enterprise, could be a full organization. It could really be with an individual who's a startup. So digital transformation strategist is who I am. So coming back to where I had said that I was employed, and I did pray to God to say, please get me out of the rat race. He did, and I left employment again out of my choice. And I think throughout my career, that's what has been happening. When I feel I have reached the climax of my success in that organization, I'm ready to move out. And that's also something I learned from one of the prominent CEOs of our country, Kenya. I have had good mentorship from him. And he said the best CEO is the one who leaves when he or she is at the highest. So when I did leave my last employment, I prayed to God and I said, will I get one office where I can practice my consultancy? Because when I went around looking for offices saying that I'm not employed, I'm going to be self-employed, you're in that high. But when you go to the realities of life and you say, I don't have an income coming and I want to hire an office, like where is the money going to come from? So my prayer shifted from not saying, get me out of the rat race. And I said, God, really? Will I never have an office, a single office where I can practice my IT consultancy? In no time, I can tell you, I asked for one, God gave me 20 offices. That was the beginning of my second phase of entrepreneurship. The first one was many years back, but the latest one that was the start of my entrepreneurship journey. I asked for one office, he gave me 20. So this was a space that I was introduced to, a huge, a very good building in a good location in Nairobi. A whole floor which had offices built. So I went and I put in all my savings into it and I furnished it and I made it into furnished offices. You could come and hire them for an office for 1 hour. You could come and hire the boardrooms for your meetings. You could come and sign a lease for a month. It was a beautiful place. It was my baby. We started off well. That was in 2018, late in 2018, 2019 passed. And by the end of 2019, the place was thriving. 15th of March 2020, I had 120 people around me in that space. 20th or 23rd of March, the first case was announced in the country and they said, we have COVID, people need to start working from home. Everyone left. I was the only one remaining in those 20 offices and the 5,000 square feet that I had hired. And all the savings that I had from the entire life of my teaching career, it was all there. I waited over it, I prayed over it, and I would go around and I say, God, please, I really need this place to be full just the way it was. I need your blessings. Sometimes you say, why is my prayer not being answered? It's the time for your next transition. It's not like God is not answering your prayer. But it was not that easy. Like you said, everything is not really ideal. That time was not really ideal for me. I had to wait for a whole year. I kept on paying the utilities, the rent. It was not easy. It kept on depleting me of my, not just financial resources, but even my health. And I think there was a point in my life where I can say I went into depression. I never really went to get it diagnosed, but I knew that was not me. I was running out of drive. But my resilient self and my blind faith did not change. So that brought me out of it within a few months. How? You just have to believe in yourself. You need to have that zeal in you that I don't belong here. I came to this earth, I was brought here for bigger things. You can't just wake up and say, there's nothing for me. And that's why I think one, manifestation is something very good. Second, mindfulness. Be mindful of every breath of yours. Through mindfulness is when your habit of being grateful to God comes in. When you wake up, can you imagine your baby waking up and crying away? That's the first thing that he or she is doing. As a parent, you will not like it. When the baby wakes up, even on a hungry stomach, and gives you a smile, you can literally give him or her the entire world. And that's exactly the relationship one should have with God. When you wake up, smile and say, thank you, God. The breath that I have in me comes from you. I may not have the funds. Maybe there are auctioneers waiting for me outside. Maybe there is no food in the pantry that I can cook for my family. But thank you, I've got my legs. I can see people walking and limping outside. I'm not one of them. You have your life. You have your health. Be grateful. So those few moments of being grateful early in the morning, they are very, very important. And it makes you realize you still have a lot within you. So let's begin the journey again. So whichever lowest ebb you are in your life, you really, like I said, you need to have a belief in yourself. And you need to shake yourself up. You cannot just say, this is where I belong and I'm okay with it. Victim mentality is, I think, one of the worst mentalities that I can talk about. So having confidence in yourself, trying to shake yourself and coming out of it again, and telling God, I am here. Whatever is your will, because He has a plan for you. Let's go next. So within that time, though I was very low in finances, low in health, I remembered that I have registered for my doctorate in IT, and it has always been pending simply because I'm trying to go from one employer to the other. So now is my time. So I put in all my efforts, and God's will was that I graduated with a PhD. And I think that gave me a very big boost, that I'm able, I'm more than able. Because that's what God says, I am able, more than able. Remember, God says, I am. So when you're speaking about yourself, you're speaking about God. When you're saying it is Him, means it is Him who resides within you. So that was the story of me graduating. And after that, how do I just sit on my laurels and say, oh yes, I'm a doctorate, but I am sitting at home and doing nothing? So get back and see, what are your skills? What has God really given you? You've been a teacher? Yes. Do you want to go and get employed again? No. So whom do you want to teach now? Now you can start teaching adults. In the world of IT, you don't really need to go to a space. From like remotely, you can absolutely train people. So started back, I can say I started recreating my identity. And that's where the trainer in me came out. That's where the coach in me came out. And somehow the author in me came out. So there's a book that I have written which is very much to do with thought leadership. I'm waiting to get it published. I'm trying to make it better and better and better. Let's hope by the time it comes out, it is something that the reader will really resonate with. Meanwhile, I've taken one of the chapters of that book, which came up to be this book that is called The Power of Purpose. Because when I was in my lowest ebb, I realized why, the why really, why is it happening to me? What is it that God wants of me? Is it something, why is it that this shift in my life has come? Is it something that He's preparing me for? And I realized if we don't ask ourselves the why, the shift never happens. That's why I came up with the book, The Power of Purpose. You must know your life's mission. And the only way you can know is by trying to find your purpose, by trying to discover your purpose. And that doesn't happen only in your career, even in your personal life, in your marital relationships. When you feel that there's something not going right, stop and ask the why. And that's exactly what the book is about. Maybe if I can go back into the time of Covid, when I know things were not right with me, around me, the world, and some people have not really come out of it to date. What helps is either you have self-motivation or allow yourself to be surrounded by a network that supports you so that they don't let you go down. Because again, if you're not self-motivated, you do need an external motivation. I'm thankful to God that when it was COVID time, and it was a very difficult time on me, I think I came to realize the sense of nothingness. And when you have nothing, you try to see what's around me. And I found nature around me at that time. I started nurturing the plants around me. I started nurturing the birds around me. I started trying to see what gives them happiness. And then that's when I started believing in myself, that if I can literally learn how to plant a small little seed, and I can see an entire tree growing from a small little pot, that means there's life in me, and I can also try and bring that small little seed back again and make it come out in a beautiful big plant. So for the people who really feel that COVID came or any other life's trial comes and takes you down and you remain there, then I would say it is not life that has caused it, it is you who is causing it. Because you're not allowing life to change you. Let's learn from the life lessons. Even when you go out, say for any sort of experience, it could be a joyful experience, it could be an academic experience, maybe you've gone for a conference, maybe it's a meeting. Not everything that you experience is going to be of help, but always come out of the experience having learned at least one thing and build on that. So similarly, if trials like COVID have come to us, then try and learn from them. And in my case, I can say I learned that I can really be one with the nature. That's when I learned mindfulness. That's when I learned how to connect with nature. And because of that experience, I'm able to apply that into my coaching. And that also forms part of the book. Be mindful of your surroundings, learn from them, be resilient, and start moving up. Don't always belong to, I need help, but I'll never take help. There are some people who belong to that category, and I don't think we really should. Always believe that you can bring a change. And it's not just career, it's even in small little phases in your life. There was a time when health issues came into my life. So I have been eating all sorts of things all my life, being in Murang'a, being in Nairobi, traveling during conferences. I've enjoyed all sorts of food. And there came a time where things changed. Every single day I would find myself having a very bad headache to the point of throwing up. And when I would go to see the doctors, they said, oh, you've got a symptom called migraine. Some people pronounce it as migraine, others say it's migraine. So what exactly happens? You cannot face light. You do not want any noise. Imagine being a teacher where you are in the middle of teaching, full of zealous students and the noise, and suddenly you say, oh no, I cannot really bear this noise. I have to leave, otherwise I'll faint or I'll start throwing up. So that's the kind of situation I would find myself in during one phase of my life. And I had to drive away from the school and go to seek medical advice. It happened once a month, then it came to twice a month, to the point where it would happen even every single day. So when I would go to the doctors and ask them, so like, what's going to happen? I come here, my frequency of visiting you is getting more and more. The gap is getting shorter and shorter. The dosage is increasing. So like, have you tried to find out what is causing it? No, don't worry about that, is what I got the answer as. Do not worry about that. We are going to increase your dosage, and if these pills don't help you, we'll put you on injectables. And that's when it hit me. You cannot rely on anyone else. You have to take control of your life by getting knowledge about it. So I started reading online. I started trying to see what is causing this. And that's when I fell upon functional medicine. Who are functional medical practitioners or medicine practitioners? Functional medicine practitioners. They go to the root cause. They're very different from the normal doctors that we have met, because doctors know how to cure a disease. Functional medicine practitioners go and see what caused the disease. They go to the root. And that's what I started reading, that's what I started following. And through the symptoms, I saw that I was actually allergic to wheat, which I had eaten all my life. But the doctors were not able to pick it by then. This was somewhere it wasn't very long back. It was early 2000s. So just about 20 years back, you can say. So I treated myself by avoiding wheat, and in no time, the headaches left me. The migraines just stopped, and my life was beautiful again. When you want to leave a legacy, it needs to be something that people can resonate with. They can resonate with how they saw you living your life. So you really have to be guided by a higher force. You can be vulnerable. You can say, I don't know XYZ. I am suffering with XYZ. I am at that stage where I can't really do things on my own. You are allowed to be vulnerable, but have confidence in yourself. Be very authentic, because authenticity is what remains even after you. When you're not authentic, you have tried to do so many things in life to cover the main bit that was you, good or bad. And beyond that, what I would say is be empathetic. God has given you a beautiful life. If you don't have one bit of the entire universe, it doesn't mean life has come to an end. Be very grateful to God and teach others the same. The art of mindfulness and the art of being thankful. That's the kind of legacy I would want to leave. I keep on asking God to use me, and it is really His plan. If He wants me to go and speak about knowledge and where it comes from to other people, then I'm ready. If it is about letting others know the goodness of being, or the goodness of His connection and my connection, and if that's what I need to go and inspire people with, then I'm ready. So the main thing is, God use me, because you're the one who's brought me on this earth. I'm very happy for whatever you've done to date, and I hope through this recording even God is hearing me. And the next is really seeing the transformation happen, both spiritually and personally in people's lives. So yes, I do pride myself in being a digital transformation coach. And through that, what exactly am I doing? I am either coming up with strategies for organizations like educational institutes. How do I turn them from teaching on the blackboard to being absolutely multimedia-led classes? So do invite me, I'm here. I have that experience, I've done it to several schools, and I'm ready to do it for yours too. If it is for your personal transformation, if you feel stuck and you feel you are cloudy, foggy minded, you do need to see yourself transitioning from the career that you have gotten used to. You want to start up your own enterprise, but you really don't know what a startup takes. Look for me. If you know you've reached a ceiling within your career and you know you really have it to be a thought leader in your space, again, look for me. I shall handhold you and show you and give you the tools of being known as the thought leader in your industry.